someone asked you to invest in a company that you would see no return on investment, would you do it? That is the premise of the 4B movement. All of the 4Bs are a net negative for women. There's no benefit to investing in someone else's infrastructure, someone else's social and economic capital, and all of these other things where you don't receive any benefit from doing so. Marriage is a net negative for women. Pregnancy is a net negative for women. Parenthood is a net negative for women. Heterosexual relations are a net negative for women. None of these women benefit from these activities. And so when it's crazy to me when 4B starts her live, she gets all of this negative feedback, but it's like men are very transactional, so they should understand this. There's no benefit for women participating in institutions where you're always saying, well, you can't do this or you can't do that, or you need us for infrastructure. You need it. Y'all don't have any skills. And they're right. We don't know what female evolution looks like outside of male interference and influence, right? So why would you be against a form of separatism where women are like, okay, we're going to develop ourselves. We're going to pull our weight. We're going to learn skills that are needed to create and uphold infrastructure. And then there won't be any problems. Because a lot of y'all don't look at women as individual people, right? You see female people as an extension of yourself or a way to achieve your own goals or your own ends. So until we have enough bargaining power to say otherwise, you don't have a reason to treat us as otherwise.
Sir, the first black man said that I'm getting government funding. Now you're saying that I'm a plant trying to divide people.
Listen,
what are you talking about?
You're taking it offensively. Who cares what I think? If you want to do it, do it.
Okay. But then you're putting out that it's a hoax and it's not.
Jesus Christ.
If you know you're special, hold on, chill out. So West 4B movement in this box right now, she is the black woman that started this movement. So you're basically telling her that what she's doing is a hoax and isn't real. Do you know how insulting that is?
Listen, who cares what I think? Who cares what I say? If she want to do it, do it. So you gonna give up on life because somebody don't agree with you?
No one said giving up on anything, but you're insulting her.
Disingenuous. You know what you're doing by saying it's a hoax.
If you want,
you know what you're saying by saying that it's a hoax. You're being disingenuous.
Hold on, real quick.
Sorry.
What you mean if you know it's a hoax? What you mean by that? Let's just clear it up for everybody and let's see what. I would like to understand what you said, but go ahead.
I explained it already. Just like they had the gangs in the hood, right? They called them gangs, but they weren't gangs. They were organization formed against threats, foreign and domestic. They were using their constitutional right. The government saw that the people were coming together, right? And they infiltrated and had this group think that this group attacked them when it was them that attacked them. And they had us arguing and fighting against each other, right? So she might have started it, but it's being used by the media as a vice to get us arguing against each other again, that we do not unite. Right? Again,
Why would I unite? Hold on, I have my hand up. Can I say something real quick?
I'm almost done. But she's only focusing on what she perceives as being negative. She ain't focusing on the fact that I say don't tell women what to do with their body, and if you want to do it, do it. She just wants to argue.
Wants to argue. You're just being disingenuous by saying that it's a hoax. Black men do this all the time.
Whatever.
Every time that there's a movement, every time that black women organize.
West 4B, the host is trying to talk. That's why he muted you. So
go ahead, Harmony.
So what I will say to that is that you are mixing up two different things. So yes, gangs existed to keep peace and to keep black and brown people away from harm from the police. That's where they first started off. You're absolutely right. But then you go and you're comparing, what you're basically doing is comparing government cointelpro, which still exists in 2024, when the government would send spies and, people in movements to break it apart and break apart the people. You're comparing that to an organic grassroots movement started by a black woman that's on this panel telling you that you're wrong. So you're wrong and you need to stop with this rhetoric that you're preaching because it's harmful. Okay, it doesn't make sense what you're saying. You cannot compare the two. I don't even think she's had, and she can speak for herself. But I see what you're doing. And cointelpro has nothing to do with what she's doing. She's not a
ain't got nothing
freaking
to do with
agent.
what she's
Cállate, I'm
doing.
talking. Thank you. It has nothing to cointelpro. She's not an agent of the government. Like, what are you talking about? This is a grassroots movement. Okay. And for people in the comments that are saying, oh, what are you talking about? This is a made up movement. This is a repeated movement. Y'all are literally not listening to what she or any other black woman is saying on this panel. When y'all repeat this harmful rhetoric, black women have always been at the front line in creating movements that other ethnicities steal and take for themselves. cointelpro is what you're talking about. Okay? It has nothing, what she's doing and what she's trying to create and what she has created that's getting TikTok in a frenzy. All y'all men got y'all panties in a bunch. It has nothing to do with governmental interference in cointelpro. And I land my plane. Please stop with this
Can I
rhetoric.
say as well? Can I say something about this pattern of behavior? This is, black men do this when black women separate and do anything. And I'm going to tell you how, and I'm going to give you just one historical example. There was a music artist named Africa Bambaataa. Africa Bambaataa hurt children when he was at the height of his career. Hurt children, SA'd little boys all over the community. You know what he did when prosecution came on his back? He said that the same thing that this person, I Am Special, is saying. Oh, they don't want black people to unite. This is cointelpro, trying to come at the black man to ruin the black community. It had nothing to do with the government interfering. It had to do with his behavior. Black men do this all the time. He's not the first. There was another black man on another panel with like 400 people saying that I'm getting government aid to do this, to separate black people. Black people have been separated, sir. You guys had passports yesterday, didn't you? So what are you talking about separation now? Yesterday you were on a flight to Colombia.
Right.
Now I'm the reason why the black community is separating. Please be so for real. Please be for real.
I'm not saying Sasha is the reason. Y'all misinterpreting that. Okay,
Sasha.
Let me put it this way, right? So if this black woman that created it, right, she started it, right, and it ain't got nothing to do with
She's right below you. West 4B movement.
Whatever. Jesus Christ, whatever. Whoever created it, right? They created it, right? So why does it say it's originated in Korea?
Sorry, because clearly you didn't listen to anything what anyone said. You didn't listen. You came up.
It started as a West B, so she created it. It's the same, but it's different. It's just like, I don't see a problem with it. And someone in the comments was saying that when I was talking that I'm wrong for saying it started in Korea, and several people said that it started in Liberia, which is actually not true. It started in Korea as 4B. That's why it's called 4B, for those B words in Korean mean, they start with the letter B and they mean no heterosexual marriage, no heterosexual schmexual relationship, no dating, and no childbirth. So it did start in Korea, and I don't know why they're mentioning Liberia.
Okay, appreciate you,
DRC,
right?
same thing. The women in the United States, enslaved African women, did things to stop themselves from getting pregnant. Women have always done this, sir, in terms of survival. Just because you don't know about it doesn't mean it didn't exist. So in Korea, the women said, well, because the men are behaving this way towards us, we need to have no children, no sex, no marriage, and no dating. And I said last year, why don't we have that in the United States? Black men are all over the country complaining about the behavior of black women, right? You guys all say the reason why every man is in prison because he was raised by a black woman who was alone. She wants too much in marriage. When it comes time for a date, I'm going to use the hot dog example. We buy her a hot dog and she won't even put out on the first date. And then you have the whole body count thing. So I said, wow, we need those 4Bs in the United States. That's why I started the West 4B. And a year ago, no one gave a shit. I was by myself a year ago. Now it's not that way, but I'm saying the 4Bs that they had in Korea makes sense in the United States since men are always complaining about the behavior of women. And this is a good political strategy because, again, even when we sleep with men, We don't have the protection we need to be free. Sleeping with men now infringes on freedom of women. If you sleep with the man in the wrong state and you get a schmortion, you're going to be in front of a judge. I don't think it's worth it, sir. I don't think it's worth it. If your daughter got raped in the wrong state and she was preggo and you took her to get rid of it, she could be prosecuted for that. So this should concern you as well, not only us. And I land.
Like how whenever BLM first started up and then right behind them comes white people acting like, everyone just needs to come together and get along, and BLM's the one creating division and all lives matter. It's not, it's just that same type of, I don't know what it is in people that when they see a group of people saying they've had enough of a specific type of treatment in society and that they're not going to put up with it anymore, that it's on them to make the opposing side, the people that they've been mistreated by, happy and to make it all feel good for everybody. It's like, that's not the point, especially with the 4B movement. Is women aren't saying, this is how we want men to act and we're going to do this so men act a certain way. They're saying, we're just not putting up with how you act. You've shown how you're going to treat women, how you think about women, and that you think you have the right to, their bodies and most importantly, their wombs. And that's just not the case. And they're done dealing with it. You know what I'm saying? So it's not about coming together and everybody getting along. That's literally the opposite.
If you go on WOMAD.life, the place where the 4B movement originated, they are saying as long as we stay true to the core principles and the core values of the 4B movement, it should be global. A lot of you also need a history lesson because we're having this, I don't know where this issue keeps getting racialized, where it's black men and black women. No, this affects all women everywhere. No one said anything about black men particularly. But since we want to get into racial unity, for all of the people who know about the history of the Black Panther Party, why do you never talk about how there were men in the party who put black women on the street corners to fundraise for their activities? How come we don't talk about how the women in the Black Panther Party had to break off of the movement and start the Black Liberation Riders because they felt their issues weren't going addressed, right? This entire idea of racial unity is a scam. Yep, Eldridge Cleaver, I can't even repeat what he said on here because I don't want anybody getting kicked off or banned, but he did and said some very grotesque things to women to prepare to get revenge on white women in a particularly violent way. And it's sex-based violence. And look at what happened to the women of the Yellow Peril movements, right? There's no such thing. Like, racial unity is a scam. Women have been doing it forever. We've had 2,000 years to come together and say kumbaya and hold hands and solve the problem that way. It has not worked. This is an issue of survival, right? Like, a lot of the men here don't even know about the trafficking crisis that's going on. They barely even acknowledge it, and how black teen girls are the main target of these initiatives, of these targeting initiatives. And I see it where I live on Miami Beach all the time. Teen girls being targeted by pimps and traffickers.
You're going to talk about recently how so many black men in these activist spaces literally co-opt abuse. Sorry.
No, you're good. Hold on real quick. Let's get to Fire Fred and then we'll open it back up for everybody to just dialogue.
Order. But because a woman is saying, close your legs, this is why it's problematic to him. If I were a man and I said it, he would agree. Similar to him listening to Colby and never interrupting. Yeah, this is why he's a joke.
He would also agree if you were a white T woman. They're all doing this because you're black. Period.
Write me a check, Harmony. If I were a white teen man,
they would donate. Comrade, be quiet.
If I were a white teen man, or if I were a white teen, and again, Harmony, this man is from India. If I were a white teen man, and if I were a white teen woman, he would write me a check for my movement and support it 100%. But because I'm a black woman, he doesn't like this movement. Yeah, comrade, you're a joke.
Right. And the thing on top of that is that you see that pattern. Be quiet. I'm talking now. So be quiet. Be quiet, Comrade Brown, because you're no comrade of mine. So be quiet. Thank you. So it's similar to other movements black women have started, like Tarana Burke and the Me Too movement. When those pink cat wearing hat, white tea women, 53% of them that voted for Trump, when they were like, oh, me too, or whatever happened to me too, they took a whole movement from a black woman and never gave her credit. But black men were supporting it. Black people were supporting it. Men, period, were supporting it. Okay, so I don't understand why you, a married man, okay, are so concerned about women who want to divest from men. Why are y'all so concerned about it? And y'all being very phobic in these comments, like black queer people don't exist. It's really weird. It's really weird. Yes, please expose yourselves. Y'all keep wanting to hear this man speak and spew against women. Like, that's what y'all want. This is not.
Host, can I explain something further, please? Because he made a comment about me talking about
before you go, hold on real quick. Before you go, I just want to know, did he answer the question? Because I'm kind of curious too. He is a married man, right? Where'd he go? I wanted to know the answer. Dang it. Never mind.
He probably said.
Never mind. Oh, go ahead, y'all. My bad.
You
Wait,
wanted to ask him why does he care if he's married?
never mind.
Yeah, that's what I really wanted to know. Like, did he answer that? Like, why he cares?
No, I don't think so.
We spoke. He came on my panel the last time, and we spoke about one. He said something in regards to him living in war-ridden countries and him having these experiences as a person of color. And then I kind of just inquired. I said, "Oh, where are you from?" And he said, "Oh, well, I'm from India." And I said, "Okay, so you're from India, all right." My history wheels are moving in my head. Then I said, "Well, how old are you?" He said he's only 30 years old. There was no civil war in India in the past 30 years. And again, if anything, India has a long history of their caste system where they are pro-white tea and anti-people of color. This is why, I think the past two presidents of India endorsed Trump. You can even go online and look at the history of Hinduism. Mm-hmm. The woman who kind of codified Hinduism when she went to India, she was a schmatzi. And when I spoke to him about this, he got upset and he didn't want to hear it. But again, this is common. This is information you can find on Google. So when people are out there and they're doing all of these things in regards to certain cultures, you really need to know the history of it and where it comes from.
PJ, I'm gonna drop down. There's somebody I want to invite up. So King, I think, has an opposing view on the 4B movement, but I'm gonna see if he wants to come up because he actually responded to me in the comment section. So let's.
Well, somebody just dropped. I don't think you have to.
Okay, let's invite him up then.
Is
he able to come up?
I got something to say to the.
Hold on, real quick. Who is that? If you know.
He can't even come up. He got 25 followers.
I was just trying to make sure you got into the conversation, brother. Go ahead.
He can't come up. Never mind.
Yeah, so for you men who's arguing with these ladies, you might want to look up what it is, because I was confused too. So I looked it up, and when you look it up, you'll find that we have no right to tell these women what to do with their bodies. Like, that's crazy. We don't know the experience they're having. We're not women, right? So how can we argue with them about what they want to do concerning their experience? That's insane. That's insane. And then another thing I wanted to say is that who's to say that this movement is even like the same thing with Black Lives Matter? Okay, so in Chicago, right, we have a whole bunch of gangs. When the gang started, they were for a good cause, right? But the system or the government infiltrated and had this organization thinking that this gang was against them, right? They did some things and made them believe that these people did it to them. And then we started fighting against each other.